A spiritual back-to-sender fire has hit the palace after a blurry video surfaced of someone cursing the jewel's womb under a sacred tree. The great lion didn't bother arguing about evidence. He made a terrifying pronouncement that has left Ebony screaming in agony. If she didn't do it, why is she the one feeling the heat? The kingmakers are in a frenzy, trying to protect their own, but the lion has finally used his spiritual veto power. Welcome to Crown Gist. If you want the real, raw and unfiltered truth from the heart of the palace, you are in the right place. But wait, if you never subscribe to this channel, what are you waiting for? You are missing the deeper secrets that the palace walls are trying to hide. Hit that subscribe button right now and turn on the notification bell so you don't miss any of this fire as it drops back to back. My Crown Gist friends and families, imagine the scene: a dark night, a majestic but terrifying sacred tree at the back of the palace, and a woman whispering curses into the roots. This is not a movie. This is the reality of the war going on in the kingdom. They say a jealous heart is a bottomless pit, and whoever digs it will surely be the one to fall inside. For years, the jewel has been the target of so much spiritual arrows, but this time the great lion has said enough is enough. The drama started when a palace guard, a man who has seen more than his eyes can handle, walked into the great lion's chambers with a shaking hand. He presented a video. Now, my groundies, friends and families, I must be honest with you. This video was not a Hollywood production. It was dark, it was grainy, and because that specific part of the palace has no lights, you could only see shadows. The figure in the video was seen bowing before a tree, pouring libations and muttering words that would make your skin crawl. The great lion sat there watching the screen. He is a king with the wisdom of the ancestors. He knew that if he called Ebony right then and showed her the video, she would laugh in his face. She would say, "This is not me. This is AI. This is a fabrication by my enemies to pull me down." He knew that the traditional constitution is very strict about evidence. You cannot punish a queen based on a bloody shadow. So instead of shouting, the king did something much more dangerous. He called for a general assembly of the elders and all the wives. When the room was full, the tension was so thick you could cut it with a knife. Ebony walked in with her usual gallant movement, looking like she didn't have a care in the world. The jewel sat quietly, her face reflecting the pain of someone who has been under constant attack. The great lion stood up and the room went silent. He didn't play the video. He didn't mention the guard. He didn't even mention Ebony's name. He raised his staff and spoke with a voice that sounded like thunder. He said, "I have heard the whispers of the winds. I have heard that someone, a daughter of this palace, sat in front of a sacred tree to prophesy that my wife, the jewel, will never have a normal child for me again. I am here to tell that person, you are not the one who gives life. You are not the owner of the womb." My Crown Gist friends and families, the great lion then made the most terrifying pronouncement we have heard in 2026. He said, "Whoever made that statement to the tree, I speak as the spiritual leader of the Gibble. Your own womb is now locked, not just for me, but for any man on this earth. As long as I remain the great lion, the gods will answer my cry. Whoever tried to kill my future will see their own future dry up like a leaf in the sun." The moment the king finished speaking, the palace erupted. Ebony started screaming at the top of her lungs. She began to cry, throwing herself on the floor as if she was being burned by an invisible fire. Everyone was shocked. The king didn't call her name, so why was she reacting like the prayer was a physical blow to her body? The pro-Ebony elders jumped up immediately, not to comfort the jewel but to attack the king. They shouted that the great lion was being one-sided. They said he shouldn't listen to negative gossip about his wives. They were talking about palace harmony and tradition, but they were ignoring the fact that a curse was caught on camera. My Crown Gist friends had families. The intensity in that room was boiling. The elders who support the jewel stood up and fired back. They asked the pro-Ebony group, "Why are you sounding like you are there when the cask was made? If you are innocent, why are you afraid of a general prayer?"
It turned into a massive wala. Elders were shouting at elders, rising up against each other with such anger that the guards had to step in. It was clear that the palace is divided. Those who benefit from Ebony's gallant ground are ready to defend her even if she's caught red-handed. They hide under the traditional constitution to protect wickedness. The great lion looked at them with disgust. He realized that many of these kingmakers were probably in agreement with Ebony's plan. They want to control the lineage of the king, and they see Jewel as a threat to their business as usual. But the king has reminded them that his authority comes from the ancestors, not from their meetings. He told them, if I did not mention a name, why are you people taking it so personally? This simple question has trapped them. The king reminded them of movies like Seven Doors or the stories told by Lizzie Gold, where tradition is used to cover up evil. He told them that in this modern age, the gods are still awake. You cannot go under a tree at midnight and expect the king of the land to remain silent. The pronouncement has been made, and the back-to-sender fire is already moving. Ebony's screams have told a story that her mouth tried to deny. The spiritual leader has spoken, and in the world of the royals, his word is final.
The spiritual heat in the palace has moved from a simmer to a heavy boil. If you thought the first part was intense, wait until you hear how the kingmakers are trying to turn the great lion's own words against him. You see, when the great lion made that back-to-sender prayer, he didn't just target a person, he targeted a conspiracy. The palace is currently split down the middle. We are hearing that the pro-Ebony elders have been holding secret meetings fuming over the fact that the king made such a public pronouncement. They're arguing that as a king, he should have swallowed the pain for the sake of the crown. But the great lion is asking them, how can I swallow poison and expect to live? He reminded them that the jewel is not just his wife, but the mother of his children. And any attack on her is an attack on the very future of the throne. But let's talk about Ebony's reaction. My crown gives friends and families. The talk of the town is still her screaming and shouting. Why would a woman who claims to be innocent behave like she was being stung, pay 1,000 beads the moment a prayer for justice was made? The elders on her side are trying to clean up the mess. They are telling people that Ebony was just emotionally overwhelmed because she felt the king was indirectly accusing her. They are trying to use English to cover up a spiritual reality. The intensity of the wala in the council chambers reached a new level when one of the senior kingmakers stood up and challenged the great lion. He had the nerve to say that the king's hands are tied by the traditional constitution and that he cannot use prophetic prayers to judge his household. They are trying to turn the king into a figurehead, a man with a crown but no power. But they forgot one thing. The great lion is not just a political leader, he is the spiritual custodian of the people. The great lion snorted in disgust. He looked at these elders and told them plainly that they are the ones enabling the madness in the palace. He said, you hide behind tradition to allow evil to grow, but when I use the same tradition to seek justice, you say my hands are tied? My crown gives friends and families. This is the reality of what leaders go through. People do evil and hide it under the cloak of culture and tradition, just like we see in those powerful Nigerian movies. The rumors are flying that since that prayer was made, Ebony has not been able to sleep. They say she has been pacing her quarters, talking to herself. Is it the weight of the prayer? Is it the fear that the ancestors have truly locked what she tried to lock for another? The suspense is gripping everyone. The elders are now arguing that the great lions should withdraw the prayer to restore peace, but the king has refused. He said, if she is innocent, the prayer will not touch her, but if she is guilty, then the gods must finish their work. This has created a massive divide among the kingmakers. Some are saying the great lion is becoming too difficult to control. They are used to a king they can push around, but this lion has grown new teeth. He is telling them that 2026 is the year of transparency. No more hiding under trees to do evil. No more politics. He is direct and he is hitting the target.
the jewel on her part has remained in total silence, which is even more powerful. She hasn't uttered a word against Ebony. She's just watching the spiritual battle unfold. But her supporters among the elders are not keeping quiet. They are demanding that the spite drink given to the guard be investigated as an attempted murder of a palace official. The fire is spreading, and the kingmakers who thought they could manage this fiasco quietly are now realizing that the great lion has let the cat out of the bag. The question everyone is asking is, if the great lion's pronouncement is heavier than Ebony's case, what happens next? If his ancestors truly answer him, we are about to see a manifestation that no traditional constitution can stop. The elders are fighting, they got down high alert, and the gallant Ebony is finding out that you cannot play with the fire of a king's prayer and not get burnt.
African Nigerian crown gist friends and families. The walls of the palace are practically vibrating with the weight of this spiritual confrontation. We have entered the stage where the physical world is clashing with the spiritual world, and the elders are caught in the crossfire. You see, when a king speaks from his throne with the authority of his ancestors, it is like a spiritual decree that travels through the wind. The pro-Ebony elders are currently in a state of total panic. They are trying everything in their power to neutralize the great lion's pronouncement. We are hearing that they even brought in their own traditional consultants to see if they could cool down the fire of the king's words. But the report coming out is that the prayer the king made is unbreakable. Why? Because he didn't call a name. By saying whoever, he allowed the gods themselves to be the judge, the jury, and the executioner. The intensity of this wakala has revealed a very deep secret about the kingmakers. My crown gist friends and families were hearing that the reason some of these elders are so angry with the great lion is because they were part of the plan. The rumor is that some of them actually gave Ebony the spiritual clearance to go to that tree. They told her it was the only way to save the palace from the jewel's influence. Now that the king has turned the curse back on the sender, these elders are feeling the heat too. They are sounding as if they were in harmony with Ebony because they were in harmony with her. The great lion's eyes have finally opened to the human wickedness surrounding him. He realized that these men don't care about his happiness or the jewel's well-being. They only care about their own power. He told them, "You say I should not listen to one-sided stories, but you are the ones who have been telling me lies since the day I took this crown." The king is no longer the yes man they used to know. He's standing tall and he's telling them that if tradition is being used as a shield for evil, then he will be the one to break that shield. Wait until you hear what is happening to Ebony in private. My crown gist friends and families, the gallant movement has stopped. We are hearing that she has been crying day and night, not out of repentance, but out of pure, unadulterated fear. She knows the power of the great lion. She knows that as the spiritual leader of the people, his tongue carries the power of life and death. The allegation that she swore to a tree is no longer just a rumor to her. It has become a spiritual cage. The elders are still going back and forth, trying to find a legal way to stop the king from making any more pronouncements. They are saying that he's bringing disrepute to the palace by making these things public. But the great lion supporters among the elders are firing back. They are saying the only thing bringing disrepute to the palace is the woman who goes to a sacred tree at 2 a.m. to curse her husband's wife. The argument is so heavy that the council meetings have become a shouting match. Enter this point where we see that being a leader of a traditional people is not a tea party affair. Like I mentioned, if you watch movies like Seven Jaws, you will see how difficult it is to deal with this DNA of tradition. People commit atrocities and then tell the king, "Oh, it's just the way things are done." But the great lion is saying, "Not in my time, not in 2026. He is tired of the barbaric games being played with the lives of his loved ones. The most curious thing now is the missing video. We are hearing that the pro-Ebony camp tried to buy the phone from the palace guard to delete the evidence forever. They offered him money that could buy 3 houses, but the guard said no. He knows that if he sells out, the gods of that inventory will not let him live to spend the money. This guard's loyalty to the great lion is the only thing keeping the truth alive right now. The suspense is building up to a final showdown. The king has given the elders an ultimatum. Either they support his quest for the truth,
or he will go to the public with everything he knows. The elders are shaking because they know that if the great lion speaks to the world, their secrets will be exposed. They are trying to find a way to appease the king without throwing Ebony under the bus. But the lion is not interested in appetizers. He wants the full meal of justice.
African Nigerian guest friends and families, we have finally reached the climax of this spiritual explosion, and the palace is currently standing on a cliff edge. The atmosphere is so heavy that you can almost feel the weight of the ancestors' presence in every corner. The great lion has made his final stand, and he has let the elders know that his throne is not a place for politics of the womb. The intensity of the fallout from the great lion's prayer has reached a stage where Ebony can no longer hide behind her gallant facade. We are hearing that the terror she is feeling is not just because of the king's words, but because of what is happening spiritually. Rumors are flying that ever since that pronouncement was made, Ebony has been having restless nights. They say she feels as if the very air in her quarters is closing in on her. Why? Because you cannot go to a sacred tree like the Ebony to plant a curse and expect the back-to-sender fire not to find you. The pro-Ebony elders are now in a state of complete desperation. They tried to stage a final revolt in the council, claiming that the king is breaking the unity of the royal house. But the king's response was like a physical blow. He looked at the leader of the kingmakers and said, "Unity built on a foundation of lies and curses is not unity, it is a conspiracy. If you are so worried about the palace breaking, why were you silent when the seeds of darkness were being planted at midnight?" My crown guest friends and families, this is where the truth really bites. The great lion has uncovered that these elders were not just bystanders. They were the ones whispering in Ebony's ear, telling her that the jewel's presence was a threat to their traditional control. They used Ebony as a weapon, and now that the weapon has misfired, they are trying to hide the evidence. But the lion has refused to blink. He told them that if they continue to defend the undefendable, he will strip them of their titles and let the world know who the real enemies of the crown are. The suspense is at an all-time high because we are hearing that the great lion has ordered a cleansing ritual for the entire palace, and he wants it to be done unfiltered and direct. He doesn't want the elders to lead it. He wants neutral spiritualists who cannot be bribed by Ebony's camp. This is the ultimate checkmate. If this cleansing happens, every hidden charm, every buried pot, and every curse spoken under those trees will be vomited by the ground. Ebony is reportedly begging the elders to stop the king from going through with this. She knows that once the issue or any deep cleansing starts, her secrets will no longer be blurry like that guard's video. They will be as clear as the afternoon sun. But the great lion is deaf to their pleas. He has seen the tears of the jewel, and he has felt the betrayal from his own household. He is moving forward like a man possessed by the spirit of justice. My crown guest friends and families, we are watching a transformation. The great lion is no longer just a man wearing a crown. He has become the spiritual judge of his people. He told the elders, "You say tradition says my hands are tied. I am the tradition, and I say the era of darkness is over." The kingmakers are shaking because they know that their stomach infrastructure and their dark politics are about to be burnt away by the truth. As we wrap up this intense saga, the question remains, will Ebony finally confess before the gods take the matter into their own hands, or will she continue to scream and shout until the back-to-sender fire finishes its work? One thing is for sure, that the jewel's womb is protected by the lion's roar, and the kingdom will never be the same after this 2026 spiritual war. Crown Guest is staying right here on the ground to bring you every single heartbeat of the story as it unfolds. Please keep in mind, my Crown Guest friends and families, that all this information is based on alleged rumors and unverified guests making the rounds on social media. None of this has been officially confirmed by the palace yet, so do not take it as a fact. It is strictly social media talk for now.